Hey guys, Jamie here at Laurel Ranch, and I wanted to give you a garden update. But first, before we get to the garden, I wanted to show you what we've been doing lately, what's going on at our farm, and a couple other things. So hang tight, and I will get to that momentarily. Okay, so you guessed it, we have more baby bunnies. And as you can see, the hay here and fur is wiggling. We have 3 bunnies in here, and they're absolutely precious. Not much hair, their eyes aren't open, but there was 4 of them, but unfortunately one of them did pass. When we found the babies had been born, one of them was already dead. But this time it was a little bit different because we knew Mama was pregnant. There's our precious Mama. Hi, Coco. Hi, sweet girl. Yes, I'm just checking on your babies. It's okay. She's a very good Mama. Okay, you gonna go feed them? Okay, you stay there. I'm gonna get out of her way so she can feed her babies. So anyway, what I was saying was, we knew she was pregnant. We got her pregnant we had her spend time with our buck April 12th. And so we knew that we had a successful pregnancy. However, bunnies usually deliver like between days 28 and 31. And so when she hadn't delivered by day 33, I was getting kind of concerned. I checked with a couple of my friends that do bunnies, our bee mentor who actually used to lead a bunny program for 4-H. As well as some of the rabbit Facebook groups that I'm on for raising rabbits. And most of them basically just said wait it out. We did, and on day 36, early in the morning, she had delivered. And so we were super thankful that she did that because sometimes if they don't deliver, they could end up dying. They usually will reabsorb any babies that are not delivered, but if they don't deliver them and they don't reabsorb them, then they can end up, getting infection and basically dying, and we definitely didn't want that. So we wanted to keep a close eye on her. I hope y'all can hear me over the ducks. They're being very vocal this morning. But anyway, so she delivered on day 36. And last time she had 7 babies. This time, like I said, she only had 4, and one of them had passed when we discovered them that morning. But the other 3 are doing well. I'm keeping a close eye on them, checking them more than I normally would, because the first few times I came out to check on them, they were scattered all over the cage. Baby bunnies have a tendency to latch on to mom when she's nursing, and because, like any baby, they don't want to be done when it's time to be done. When she goes to leave her nest box, sometimes they get drug out with her. And we have a board in there that's supposed to act as a barrier so that they kind of get pulled away when she climbs over that to leave the nest box. But I'm thinking it must not be high enough because 4 or 5 times they've been scattered out there. So we just carefully pick them up and put them back in, and they're good to go, but we do have to keep a closer eye on them for that reason. Okay, so back to the garden update. So, and yes, I'm out here with my umbrella so that I don't fry. I'm not the type of person that can work outside in long sleeves during the summer, but I also don't like to wear a lot of sunscreen, so I try to keep myself out of the sun as much as possible. But when I have to be in the sun, especially for long periods like this, I learned the hard way, as you can see in a previous video, that I need some sort of sun protection. So my umbrella is one of the ways I do it. Plus it helps me to make these videos, and that way I don't have to worry about, the sun glaring in my eyes and all that, and squinting too much. So one of the things that I wanted to show you guys is my garden plan. So here is the layout of my garden. Sorry, it's super windy here today. And so basically every year I go and I plant out what's going in each of these boxes. And then I make notes to myself as to how many of each thing I planted. This year I'm planting in stages, and so some of them I've circled because I have not planted them yet. But that's the general plan that I start with, is something on paper, and that way I can remember what all went where. Now what you're gonna see is that didn't exactly work out the way I had it planned. So some things took off and are doing great. Other things have not shown up at all. And so I'm guessing that those seeds did not germinate properly. And part of that probably was due to the heat. And part of it was, like I mentioned before, some of those plants were recommended to start a seed. And I was just gonna try putting them in a box and direct sowing, because I was already running late with my garden. So for those things, I am starting some of the things from seed again this next week, and I will replant them from seed started inside and then put them, transplant them to the garden as soon as they're ready. But I wanted to show you things that have worked and things that have not, as far as what actually is popping up here. Okay, so starting here, these are okra, and they're actually doing quite well. I only had one of them not make it. So, actually, I might have planted more than that. This is why I keep notes. So I do have some okra growing, and that's good. Over here, so far, none of the beets that I planted are coming up. That is a weed that is growing lovely. I need to pull that. My basil is doing amazing. However, I can't take credit for that other than just watering it, because that was a start. None of the other herbs are coming up at the moment. So that's unfortunate. I may have to just buy some plant starts on that. Over here, I planted onion, none of which is coming up. However, and this is the funny part, I hope y'all laugh with me. These are tomatoes. I did not plant them here, but they are coming up nonetheless. And the funny part is, I have no idea if they are determinate or indeterminate. I will discover that as they continue to grow. So if they're determinate, they will just grow up into a bush, and they will only grow until that bush is done growing. If they are indeterminate, then they're going to need some sort of bracing or scaffold to be able to grow on. I don't have the heart to take them out of here. I mean, it's tomatoes that I didn't plan on, but it's tomatoes. We will definitely eat them. So we'll just wait and see. I'm not sure. They obviously came up because I used the compost in here. I'm just not sure if they're store-bought varieties that are growing up, or if they are, the ones that I had in my garden from last year. So we'll just see as they grow. This little guy is part of the gourd family, but I have no idea what it is. So we're just gonna wait and see. None of my cucumbers have come up. So I'm gonna have to replant those. Over here are the peppers. They're doing well. They've been chewed on a little bit, but they're not bad. It looks like all the other things that I planted that had started growing have died. I do have a few weeds over here, but the stuff that I intentionally planted is not growing. So go figure. Over here, I planted okra. No, not okra. I apologize. Over here, I planted Brussels sprouts. However, as you can see, these are sweet potatoes. This was my previous sweet potato bed, and I thought I had gotten all of the tubers out from last year. Obviously, that was not the case. So I don't know if any of the Brussels sprouts are actually going to make it due to the overwhelming presence of the sweet potatoes. But the good news is we'll have sweet potatoes. The green beans are doing well. So this was the last of the seeds that I had, so I did have to order more. They just arrived last week. So I'll get those started here this next week when I do my planting. But for now, these are looking good and growing strong. Okay, and then over here, I had not planted anything yet, but as you can see, check it out. I have another tomato plant. And then looky here, random sunflower. That is courtesy of the bunnies and eating sunflower seeds. It's a treat that we give them. And so one of the disadvantages of using rabbit poop in your garden is that sometimes you will end up with surprise plants that make it through the bunny's system and still stay in seed form, and then you end up growing them in your garden. That's a risk I'm going to take because honestly the rabbit poop is great fertilizer. So we love to use it, and I'm okay with, you know, random things popping up. I did not feed them any tomatoes, so that's not why the tomatoes came into play. I think it's more just remnants of tomatoes that were thrown in the compost. But the sunflower for sure is from the rabbit poop. Once again, my roses are doing well. This one is flourishing and beautiful. My blueberry bush has taken off. These are one of those things that takes a few years, so I'm not expecting anything from that for another couple years. And then over here is my other not so strong rose bush, but it is getting there, slowly but surely. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell for right now what I have going on. I do have a couple strawberries growing and a couple of intentional tomato plants, but that was pretty much what I was able to plant for the most part this last month when I did that other video for the garden. So a couple things I've learned: you're always going to have surprises, especially if you use compost. And I think I need to pay more attention to some of the things that might be a little more tender and actually need to be started from seed. I have no idea why my onions have not grown. No idea whatsoever. Last year I did the exact same thing with them and they grew just fine. So I did order more seeds for the onions because I had used the last of them when I planted this year. So I will get those planted next week. And we have a really long growing season here in South Texas. So I'm not too worried about being this late to plant because we should be fine. We harvest completely into, you know, early to late November sometimes. So, but I definitely need to spend some time taking care of the weeds, and I need to pay a little bit better attention to the things that are more sensitive, that really do need to be started indoors. And I think that last year the difference was I started my squash and my tomatoes and my peppers. I started all of those indoors, and the things that I direct sowed this year that were squash, tomatoes, and peppers, they have not grown at all. And so I really think that I need to have them started indoors and then transplanted outdoors, just because I've had better results that way. So I'll go back to that. It was worth it to try, but it just didn't work out to direct sow them this year. The other thing that I'm realizing is in starting seeds, I probably should start more than I need, simply because I can always sell off the plants that I grow that are excess. It's a great way to bring in a little extra money to help offset the cost of the seeds, and it doesn't take any extra time other than just, you know, an extra couple of cups and a little more dirt. So I think in the future I will definitely, instead of just sowing or starting seeds that are the amount that I need, I think I will definitely start, you know, at least, I don't know, I wouldn't say I'd start twice as many as what I need, but definitely, you know, 4 or 5 more than what I plan on using, and then just see what takes off and see what works best, and then I can sell off the rest. So anyway, that's my garden update for today. I'll keep you guys posted on what works and what doesn't, and on starting seeds next week. Have a blessed day.